You're watching Lansdowne ROAR, the voice of the fans. And on tonight's show, we're going to chat about Kasey McAteer scoring his first Premier League goal. Aaron Connolly is on the move from Millwall. And we're also going to sadly talk about Sheamus Coleman's last ever appearance at Goodison Park for Everton. You're watching Lansdowne ROAR, and it's live. Thank you to everyone watching so far. We've nearly got 400 listeners already and viewers. So thank you all for your support so far this evening. I'm joined tonight by Conor McAvoy at Rep Tracker himself. He's busy working away in the background. We can see loads of your comments coming in already. Thank you for your support, as I've said already. And I know there's one little man who's very, very impatient this evening, and that's David Dunn. Hurry up.
Do one.
Take away the first comment. Yeah, do one. Yeah. He couldn't help us out doing some of the background production stuff today. So anyway, great to see so many of you supporting us this evening. Make sure, if you haven't already, that you have subscribed. Tell your friends that we're on live tonight. We're going to be answering any questions you want about Irish football, giving you the latest news on Irish football over the weekend, of course, and how our players have got on, especially as we get on to the end of this season. And myself and Conor are Man United fans as well, so we will probably have a little question about how we think we're going to get on Wednesday night against Tottenham in the El Crapico, as it's been nicknamed already. But yeah, we'll be also be we'll obviously be catching up on the latest news in Irish football, and we have a little bit of information already. Just to kind of go in straight away, I'll come in as my capacity as club chairman of Risk London, just to let many of you know. Do follow Ireland around the world like myself, Conor, and David do. So if you are intending to travel to Luxembourg, the FAI have released an email today to all the applicants for that particular match coming up in June, and it's with a link that you have to obviously buy your ticket actually directly from Luxembourg. Now they have it all registered with the information you provided to the FAI for the away portal, so make sure you've got till the 3rd of June to order your ticket basically via that link. So if you are one of those traveling over like myself and Conor and David, make sure that you actually get a ticket for the game, because although there's only 400 Irish fans traveling over there, we want to make sure that we all get in, and it's all good anyway. Conor, how are you?
I'm good. It's been a good evening now watching the League of Ireland. Good to watch. I know Dave's probably crying about that. His lovely Pats lost and Liverpool lost, but who cares about English football anymore? It's dead. Anyway, but no, I'm good. I had a great evening watching the 2 League of Ireland matches, really, and I'm glad to see there's so many comments actually already. Rolling Stone is already in full display already, which is great to see. Good to see him back after a few weeks. I know a few people were worried that Mr. Stone had gone off the rails, Martin, if you remember, but no, I'm good. I'm looking forward to another big week of football on and off the pitch, because as we know, even though some news hasn't broke yet in Irish football, something will break by the end of the week that we will probably have something to talk about again, because it is a busy week, and we're going to have our awards show by the end of the season or by the end of the week, which will be very interesting to see who yourself and Dave go with, because there's going to be some very, I'd say, rogue shouts in your team this seasons that I will no doubt shoot down. But anyway, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, all good. And you said there, Conor, rightly so, that there's always some news in Irish football. We do have a bit of official FAI business to obviously chat about, and that is that today the FAI confirmed that Shane Robinson is taking over as the interim technical director until a permanent appointment is made. Obviously, he's replacing Mark Canham, who has now departed, although he is arranging a transition handover to Shane Robinson. So that's probably some kind of important news, I suppose. And I know that Carla's announcing her women's squad for the upcoming Nations League game tomorrow as well. So we'll be trying to cover all of that. Yeah. She's an early riser, old Carla.
Why is it at 8:45 in the morning?
I know, it's mad. I don't know. It's probably other things to do,
But wouldn't be doing that myself.
And just a little bit of a bit of housekeeping, I suppose. David Carell, the CEO, says we're pleased to have Shane step up as interim technical director as we begin the process to recruit a new chief football officer. Shane is a valuable member of our football leadership team and will help us to continue our vital work in continuing to develop Irish football. And the application process for the permanent role of Chief of Football Officer is going to be advertised this week. So we know that, Connor, are you going to apply for that one? Step up, my friend. Time to step up.
I think I'll stick with management for now. I think I'll just keep picking the Ireland squad for Heimir behind the scenes. I like doing the work for Heimir behind the scenes. But if they ever want me to step up and take that role instead, I don't worry. I will be there because I am the man to see of Irish football. I can tell you that for free. I don't know. There's one man who be on this show that we wouldn't trust with it at all. But we don't need to say who, do we?
No, of course so. No. So, as you said there, Connor, at the outset of the show, we're going to come on and obviously do O-Big. For some of you who's not familiar with the show, we obviously go through how the Irish players who qualify to play for Ireland and have actually played in the recently, it is coming to the end of the season, how they got on in O-Big. And that's where we go for all the players who actually did play. So it's a bit few and far between this evening because some of the lads are obviously on their holidays already. Although, as we said, Connor, they need to have a holiday now because next summer, as Heimir said, they're not having a holiday. So that's because we're off to America, of course. So is it worth showing that clip again just to...
Yeah, go on.
Here we go.
That we expect to have no holiday next summer. We expect to come in straight from the season and the pre-season, going to US in the World Cup. So no holiday next season. We can at least give them some extra holiday this season. And it goes the same with you guys.
My manager.
He doesn't know, Martin, we're on a full-time holiday when we're living the dream, are we?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. The positivity of the Ireland manager. I mean, that's such a contrast to previous managers gone by, of course, who used to criticise the lack of players we had and we haven't got anyone and things like that. So, thank you once again for all your comments coming in so far. We'll get around to covering all of them towards the end of the show. But I think we really have to start with
Go
on.
We'll start probably with Sheamus Coleman because it's the one thing we have up for now.
Yeah. I can't see it though. Where is it? You'll have to put it up. Have you got it? There you go. All right. So, Sheamus Coleman. This is Everton's final game against Southampton, a 2-0 win they had there. And Sheamus Coleman, an absolute legend, as you know, led their team out, but it lasted 16 or 17 minutes until an ankle injury curtailed his afternoon. But he got a standing ovation as well. It was disappointing to see him come off so early, wasn't it? But, it wasn't... You knew there was something genuine with it because he's not John Terry and he didn't deliberately, arrange this. So we knew that, sadly, there was going to be something kind of amiss with Sheamus, but absolutely brilliant. I mean, there's been so much coverage over Everton's, and it's actually kind of saddens me a bit. I never ever got to go to Goodison Park, and I had opportunities over the years, but never went there. But great links with Ireland as well, of course. Shane Duffy, I saw him put a nice tweet up earlier saying how, he felt so welcome at Goodison Park over the years, and Everton, a great club. But sad to see that in a way. But behind the scenes, you've seen a lot of their social media talking about, how they've, what obviously the challenges this year and things like that, and the end of an era at Goodison. And I suppose what's nice to see about that, you see these amazing videos, and you all see Sheamus Coleman front and center in these things, going out meeting fans. He just gets it completely, and we've seen that with him with Ireland fans as well, which is amazing. If you have ever been to Goodison Park, do give us a comment, shout in the comments about that. Let us know how you got on over there, and obviously give us your feedback on Sheamus. He's not a divisive figure in the sense of any negativity, but was picked in the Ireland squad. This is obviously a bit of a setback for him now. Will he be joining up in June or not? I think the kind of vibe is that Heimir wants him around the camp, and whatever capacity that will be, I think will be a benefit for Irish football. But let us know your thoughts on Sheamus Coleman as well, and what he has meant to Everton Football Club. An absolute bargain that David Moyes got him in there, and a fantastic ambassador for Irish football, and obviously for Everton as well. So let us know your views on Sheamus. I know that will be a love-in, but do let us know what you think. What did you think of that, Connor?
I thought it was great. I think what the even best bit was the fact that he didn't just walk around the pitch taking this slow, lowering the attention, because he was going to come off at some stage on Sunday, and we all thought, it'll be of 60 minutes or so, and then a proper a proper real moment of people getting a big stand ovation, but he kind of just ran off the pitch as such, straight down the tunnel. He didn't want the attention. That sums him up as a character. Like, he's not there for the fame. He's not there for the John Terry as such, trying to do the 26-minute thing. And I know people try to say, oh, it's his last appearance. And I don't think that, in for Everton, but like, that didn't scream a man that was retiring from football after picking up that injury. I think he's a man that wants to keep playing no matter what. And I think he knows that he can offer stuff. Like, he never plays badly. It's just he's been injured quite a bit. It was a tough moment for him, and I do have a point or a bone to pick with Mr. David Dunn. Martin, as you seen the other day, he was saying that he was like, I told you this would happen. I told you. I said this would. I predicted this was. He never predicted that Sheamus Coleman was come off after 18 minutes, and then he tried to be all wordy and be like, oh, this or that. I said he couldn't know his body up, but he got reassured in the comments. People are liking the tweet that I replied to him because they all know he was talking out of his arse. Mr. Wrong, as per usual, whilst Rolling Stone's raving about Odegaard in the comments. I don't know why, but but I tell you what, it was a good moment for him to get a little bit of ovation anyway, but it was sad to see him come off injured. But I'm sure we'll probably see him in the camp in June. His injury didn't seem that bad if he was able to run off the pitch.
Yeah, obviously need a legend. And, I see the John Terry one that they have at Chelsea, and it's ridiculous. I mean, I know Sheamus, look, with the trophies and the medals on the table, it's not about that with Sheamus Coleman. Humble guy, gets Irish fans. I've met him many a time now, and he's just so great with Irish fans, respectful, interacting with kids and things like that. Just, knows what it means to Irish fans, especially youngsters, meeting them and stuff like that. So that's fantastic to see. And obviously some really good positive news is this man here scoring a goal. I saw a lovely clip of this showing him as a ball boy many years ago at Leicester, because he's come through the academy there, I believe. And that's Kasey McAteer, his first Premier League goal for Leicester, relegated Leicester, of course. But that's brilliant to see, isn't it, from him? Joining up with the Ireland squad in June. A player is highly rated, I think. He's a winger as well, of course. And we were saying just before we came on air, in our little hold-up kind of meeting, that, we're quite excited, aren't we? There's a number of wingers available for this camp. And hopefully Heimir's going to go with it, with the wingers. And do you think McAteer now, with that goal, was kind of put himself kind of first, up front for that?
Yeah, but do you just pull up that photo again, by the way, because I just noticed something on it.
Yep.
Why is his arm cut out? Where is his arm that he's pumping there? He's missing an arm.
No, you got to zoom in a little bit. It's people can put it in the comments. You can't. He's missing an arm. Whoever's edited the photo for him to make him look stand out more has decided to take his right arm off him. If you see that, Prendy. So I hope Kasey's all right and it doesn't rule him out for the Ireland camp. But no, it was great to see, because he's been one that I've kind of thought when you see him play, he's nothing special going forward, nothing special going back to it. But he's really kicked on in the last what you'd say probably 4 or 5 weeks. He's a very good ball carrier. He's a brilliant athlete. Is what I think is his main strength, especially in the system we play with the 4-4-2, which is kind of a bit poison at times, but like when we see Ryan Manning playing on the wing for us, we probably see Kasey McAteer really, I think, kicking on in that sense for us, and that either playing on the right or playing on the left, which would be a huge thing for Ireland, because we need someone who's very solid defensively and very solid going forward. I think he could offer something like that. I know when we probably think a full team, you'd see Fessy there, or you'd see Ogbene there, or we hope that Rocco Vata will be there, or one of the other talented young players can break through. But he could be someone that could, I think, in the bigger sort of games, that could offer us a lot, because you can tell he gives everything for the jersey, and he's getting better, it seems, with every week. And I think the thing of Leicester getting relegated isn't an awful thing for his point of view, because I don't think he's ready to be a starter in a Premier League team as of yet, and playing week in, week out in the Championship will I'm just seeing some stupid comments here making me laugh, would be a huge thing for Ireland and a huge thing for football. And I see Stephen Kenny's refusing to do any interviews tonight after his hammering by
Shamrock Rovers, which is sad to see because I like Stephen Kenny. I don't like to see him sad because I imagine he's very annoyed after that
He's
result
very
tonight.
sad. Yeah, he might just be all chatted out after
Are you
his.
sure? I heard he just wanted to come watch our show instead.
That's probably what. So evening, Stephen. Hope you're all well and that you enjoyed your chat with Heimir during the week. Which was an interesting
Which
piece.
is great. We actually didn't see that. Yeah, he said that. Like he said that in the deal. He's part of the presser after. It was great to see that because I know a lot of League of Ireland fans are kind of very anti-Heimer. I think it's more of the thing that after what happened with Stephen Kenny and the abuse he got, which was absolutely ridiculous from, you'd say, the mainstream bigger heads in Irish football, ex-internationals who we would probably say they're a bit of a know-it-all, Martin, to be honest. They don't watch the matches, and then they try and tell everyone else that they know better about these players that they've only heard 10 minutes of before the show started. And I think Heimer's kind of embedding himself in the culture. He was at Tala tonight to watch another huge game of football where you've seen a lot of very, very talented players on both sides who could really kick on to the next level. But no, yeah, we forgot to mention that about Heimer. But yeah, he speaks so well, and I think he's such a likable figure, like, because he wants best for all parties. And I think he's going to get the best out of our players.
Yeah, I think with Heimer, he's definitely adapted already, and I know you can pick this one off the floor as well. I mean, I've been lucky enough; I've met him a few times now, and there's the name drop for you, Connor. But the first time I met him, I don't think he could really understand the kind of fascination of the why Ireland fans wanted photos with him or wanted to chat to him, and just very casual in the approach and things. I think he's really adapted to that now, and he gets it, and he goes to obviously League of Ireland games, engages a lot more with fans. I think it was the away result in Finland that really kind of brought it, kind of understanding of it. And I remember like Kieran Crowley from the FAI, the communications officer there, really kind of pushing him forward to kind of get the plaudits of the fans. It was an amazing night, late goal, fantastic Irish support as well, of course. We were in the colder seats. Connor, you and Dave are up in the posh seats.
It's colder up there.
It was, with your coffee in hand. I mean, look, we were on the whiskey glass.
It's a lot colder in the press box because you're like sitting in seats and you're sitting down. You can't jump about like a madman or celebrate like in way end where you're cozy. Everyone's like jammed together because everyone wants to be beside each other. So you can stop talking out of your arse, Martin. I'll tell you that. But
that's where he took the plaudits that night, and come over to us. And was very dismissive of the press box. I don't know if he kind of showed you how many feet he has with a signal. That's what he should have done with a little wave up to you guys. But no, that night, that's when I think it really clicked with him and understanding it. And absolutely buzzing with the result and kind of a bit of belief in the camp as well. So yeah, fantastic. And we've heard now that he's going to be having a little chat and sit down with Roy Keane and a few of the lads, the older kind of the older guard from back in the day with Irish football, which is brilliant as well to see, because the lads are very opinionated, of course, in their media pundit duties, and that's right. That's up for them to obviously be analytical, of course. But we want everyone involved and invested in Irish football and supportive of it. There's a lot to knock in it, of course, and we're independent on here, and we will knock it, of course, at times. But everyone ultimately wants the best of Irish football, so I think that's going to be quite interesting. That to see how that kind of develops as well. But a bit of kind of negative news, I suppose. I know you haven't got your image up. We haven't got one of him, but Aaron Connolly confirmed today that he's left Millwall. A move that didn't work out really. Any thoughts on that, Connor, or any speculation of where he might be going next?
I don't know. I hear people saying going to League of Ireland stuff. He's not going to go back to the League of Ireland. He's still a talented footballer. I'd seen him play on quite a few occasions for Millwall this season, and it's not like he actually played bad or anything. He was started off well. I remember he got his first. I can't remember who the first. Well, he only scored one goal actually in the league anyway. But the goal he got was a very nice goal, and people were starting to think he was going to kick on then. And then he picked up an injury, which kind of derailed him, and then he came back, and Aidan Wamako actually took his place on left wing and was doing really well. And it's kind of derailed his spell there, and they probably think Aidan is probably their future on the left hand side. And it seems that Connolly's been seen as more of a left-sided winger rather than a striker by people at Millwall. So I think that probably best for all parties that he's left. Maybe he's already got a contract agreed with some other club that we don't know, but we are just presuming that Millwall haven't offered him a new deal, but it did say on their retained list that Connolly left after the expiration of his contract. So it wasn't a thing that Connolly has been released. So we don't know technically whether it was that he's left on to move on to somewhere else, or whether he's left to because they didn't want him anymore. We don't know probably where he'd go, because he's kind of gone to he's done the Italy route before, going to Venice, went to Serie B. It didn't go too well, but I think that was when he was stuck in his rut, where he spoke about his mental well-being being quite poor or not. So we don't know whether he'd want to explore that foreign route again. But I think Italy's probably the worst country to go to in terms of getting your career back on track, because it's a country that people don't really speak English as people do, but like the players that go to Italy, a lot of lads that aren't really the best English speakers, and it's a very hard language to learn, and probably a tough culture for him to go into. And hopefully he will get his career back on track somewhere, because he's still such a talent. Like I seen today, he was 25, but that's kind of the age where you reality starts to set in, that you kind of need to start to, like, if you want to do something with your career, you need to kick on, because 25 kind of seems like that age where you're starting to get into the stage of your career where you really should be peaking.
Yeah, I mean, he is a strange kind of character as well. Like, great bravery coming out with some of the problems he faced. He's had massive opportunities, as he said there, and we expected so much. Like sliding doors moments, went through, didn't he, in one of the games under Mick, I think, and missed the opportunity, and that could have been a different kind of situation with him with Ireland. Kenny seemed to kind of trust him, bring him in and out the squads, always kind of backed him, which was, again, probably the nature of Kenny as a man, kind of looking after someone who he knew kind of had challenges and things like that. But we wish him all the best, of course, and it's so easy. You see these talented footballers, they can just slip out the game, and I mean, it's a dream job for many of us to be a professional footballer, right? And few and far between of us get to do it. But it's harder actually to be a pro and retain and keep consistently as a pro at the very, very top level. And you can easily just drift out of the game here. And financially, yeah, he'll be okay, I'm sure. But you don't want these lads having regrets of where they are in time. Like let it slip away just because of distractions off the pitch and things like that. It's so hard to get there in the first place, but staying there is even more difficult. And an incredibly talented footballer, and that's what we want to see on the show. We do OBIG for a reason. We kind of chat about all the lads. We want them to do well, of course, but sometimes it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. But
the thing is, Martin, he won't be the only very talented striker that'll be leaving his club on a free transfer this summer. Michael Obafemi's contract's up at Burnley. I don't think he'll be offered a new deal. I think that's quite obvious. He had quite a crap loan spell at Plymouth this past year. Their fans didn't speak too glowingly on what they thought of him. Like, they thought that he only turned up in a couple of games, and the rest of the games you never seen it and what Obafemi's capable of. And you'd wonder what's next for him. You'd hope maybe, I don't know, like, I think the Championship club will always take Obafemi, because they know that he can always offer you something no matter what sort of mindset he's in, because he's that talent. But it's a strange one for them. Like, them two players were so highly thought of, and you remember with that Ireland under 21 team with Stephen Kenny, especially remember this sort of games, like when that Sweden game at home, and the two of them were absolutely brilliant. And it's mad to see how the two of them have played out in recent years. I know you can tell with Connolly, he's really, really given everything to get his career back on track. Obafemi, we don't really know, because he doesn't seem to do much media activities anymore. But you'd hope that this maybe getting released from Burnley, which we expect, and I think it probably is 99% likely, is what will be the maybe turning point of his career, because he's the same age as Connolly. You'd argue probably just as talented, if more. He has more, maybe you'd say, more of the physical attributes that can, even if he technically doesn't end up doing absolutely brilliant things, with his pace and his power and his strength, he'll always damage a team. So it's them sort of players is sad to see, because them sort of players should be fighting with all the other strikers we have to be in the main men for Ireland, which only pushes more men on. Like so, it only gives more motivation for the likes of Vida, Ferguson, Powers, Sinclair, Armstrong, Tom Cannon to have more options in that position. And it's just, hopefully you just hope it this summer, because I know both of them have the talent. It's just about making sure they're at the right club and a manager that probably believes in them.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of come in on that as well. I mean, that's where, in the context of chatting about Irish footballers and kind of, writing them off, basically. Like, look, people have often spoke about Evan Ferguson. Now the loan move's not worked out. Troy Parrott's got a lot of criticism. Oh, he's overrated. That's why he can only cut it in the Dutch league and things like that. Adam Eder up in Glasgow. These two lads, though, were really, really highly thought of at one stage, and it just shows you how difficult it is. And it just shows you how good Eder, Parrott, and Ferguson, I think, will be, or has been anyway. To score that many goals in the Premier League at such a young age, it's not worked out recently for him last few years, but he's still got youth on his side. We're too quick to write these players off, and I don't think we really do appreciate like how the level that Troy's playing at, and and how kind of dedicated he is to it as well. I know he's a professional footballer; he's getting well paid and things, but he took a chance going over there, especially, and now he's one of our key players without a doubt. So, look, it happens for different reasons as well. It doesn't always work out at clubs, but yeah, look, I think they both will get contracts and somewhere, but could easily just fade away, sadly, and it comes down to the attitude sometimes. And we're here to support him, of course, but I think the League of Ireland, I don't know, he'll have. I think that's a bit of a difficult move there. I mean, we're just going to come onto a comment there already. Like, I genuinely don't know. This is from Ryan. I genuinely don't know where Aaron Connolly goes from here back to one. I know Galway were rumoured to take him last winter, but it never materialised. I mean, on that comment there, financially, I think with respect to the League of Ireland, I think it's probably difficult for someone. He's going to be a big kind of
No, but I think it's more that it was that meme account that puts up all these fucking stupid rumors about League of Ireland. Like that was never in it. Like Connolly thing is the talent he has. It would be absolutely brilliant for the league to see him come home because he'd do great things. But no, he's not. Well, I don't think he'd come home anywhere. Like because he hasn't. The lad hasn't lived at home since he's 15, 16. He doesn't even have an Irish accent anymore. No.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, follow a lot of football podcasts, of course, but, and hearing Irish footballers, like even, some nostalgic kind of podcasts and chatting to like even Sean Scannell was at Crystal Palace with Clint Morrison. Now he's at Hornchurch in the National League South. It's crazy. It just doesn't work out sometimes with injuries and things like that.
The thing is,
there is a level to play in there.
Well, you look at like them sort of lads will get overpassed so quickly because from watching like the likes of Mason Melia tonight, Michael Noonan, them lads will just overtake them lads so fast. Like you just watch Mason Melia, and even when he doesn't score, you could just know there's like he should have won a penalty tonight. He was clearly fouled in the box, and even when the ball goes into his feet, playing on the half turn or playing with his back to goal, he's excellent. And Michael Noonan's, I know Joseph Anang was dreadful for his goal, but it was still very good composure. And I think it's a real positive about the League of Ireland at the moment. We're seeing these top young players looking like some of the best players on the pitch week in, week out. So, like the lads, like if Michael Obafemi and Connolly don't kick on, I think his lads will overtake them. And I know we complain about the lack of infrastructure and money put into the Irish game, but somehow there's always Irish talented players coming through. And I think with the growth of the League of Ireland, the way these lads are playing, that other lads will get bypassed. Like we were only saying that not long ago that Meepo we thought would be future Ireland international. Maybe he might be one day because he still has the talent, but in terms of like he's just been bypassed and now he's probably not even thought of any conversations anymore when it comes to Ireland. So like it's probably sort of thing that either keep going or you'll get bypassed.
Yep. No, I agree with what you're saying there as well. But I'm going to just pull up this. I think this is quite a key question actually for Raw faithful watching tonight. Rolling Stone makes a good point here. Why do young fans insist that today's footballers are more technically gifted than players in the 80s or 90s? Right, I'm going to put that out there to Raw faithful. Do you think that is the case? That young fans think,
obviously,
are they technically more gifted than players in the 80s or 90s, and why that is the case? Okay, well, we'll chat about it. But yeah, I want to get people's views on that. So we're just going to come on to Obig. We're going to catch up very quickly with how the lads got up on over the weekend for those who played. And we're going to start off with the goalkeepers. So just to clarify again, because I'm sure this will get mentioned in the comments, why haven't you mentioned him? This is players who played or were in squads over the weekend. So the goalkeepers. So Quivin Kelleher, unused sub for Liverpool, probably will get a last appearance on their last game coming up. He was to pick to say goodbye. And Josh Keeley in 120 minutes in the playoff. Was that right?
Yeah, he played 120 minutes. Well,
Yeah.
I hope he played 120 minutes if he cut to a penalty shootout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a hero in that as well,
Yeah.
and spoke very well over it as we spoke during the week. So, yeah,
We're starting
looking forward to
to
that, though, aren't we,
call
Connor? Josh
Yeah.
Keeley going off to Wembley.
Yeah, hopefully they win. Oh, well, I don't want to say well. I think no matter what
Irish
happens,
interest for Charlton now as well, isn't there?
Yeah, himself, Ollie O'Neill at Leighton Orient, and then Connor Coventry and Alex Gilbert at Charlton. So it's a good. It's kind of a win-win no matter what. Like, because maybe even if Orient win, we know Josh will be going on to bigger and better things next season. But not disrespecting to Orient, but he's just that quality of a keeper, and there's a lot of interest in him. And whether Ollie O'Neill might get the next step up, we don't know or not. But he's done very well this season and last season with Orient, and then I'd imagine Connor Coventry is a sort to get a championship move next season. Even if they win, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe a top end team. You see what lads, people say, Bristol City fans saying that if Jason Knight goes, they probably want someone like Connor Coventry to come in and replace him. So yeah, it's a win-win on Saturday. So hopefully Rolling Stones going on, but hopefully we see Orient win. Kind of would rather see them win, to be honest.
All right. Yeah, do keep your comments coming. Yeah, we're getting up around to all of those very, very soon. So, defenders. So, Sheamus Coleman, 18 minutes, came off injured for the Everton final game at Goodison Park, as we mentioned. Nathan Collins, 90 minutes for Brentford. Matt Doherty, 59 minutes for Wolves. Joshua Honohan, 90 minutes for Shamrock Rovers. Jake O'Brien, 90 minutes for Everton as well. And Andrew Omobamidele, 10 minutes, a red card and a 3-2 loss versus Le Havre. And Darragh O'Shea, 90 minutes for Ipswich Town. And Liam Scales, 90 minutes, 1-1 draw versus St Mirren for Celtic. Anselmo Garcia McNulty, 90 minutes, 2-0 win versus Groningen. And Will Ferry, 90 minutes and a 2-1 win versus Aberdeen.
I don't know what's going on with them.
Yeah, go on.
I don't know what's going on there with them graphics. I don't know why that's happened. Why
that's at the bottom. They played.
Yeah, and then some come in the middle. But yeah, go on, say what you were saying there, Martin.
And Will Ferry, I think, did he get Player of the Year?
Yeah, he got Fans Player of the Year. I think it was at Dundee United. And as I've said here, he's had an excellent season. He's been one of the best left backs in Scotland. And I think he's kind of, you could argue he's been harshly overlooked for the squad, with Heimir saying a lack of depth at left back and probably wanting not Robbie Brady to have a break, but maybe he thinks having the more experienced heads in might help. But yeah, they got Fans Player of the Year. They got European places confirmed. So I'd say he'll probably, with Europe there next season, he will probably end up staying there, which will be a good thing for them, because they actually have quite a decent squad at Dundee United. Is probably getting to the next level of qualifying for a European tournament for him probably to, maybe if they get knocked out straight away, he might end up getting sold, because I'm sure there's lots of like championship teams looking at him because he's had an excellent season.
Yep, very good.
And
yep,
I think for Omobamidele, it was kind of a nightmare coming on in what is the 80th minute and then getting sent off and conceding a penalty on the last day of the season, and red card, and probably a terrible way to buy out of Strasbourg, because we know he's not going to stay there. They can't afford his wages. It's a simple reality. And actually, it looks like they're signing Irish eligible CJ Egan-Riley on a free transfer from Burnley, which is interesting to see after him getting in the team this season in the Championship in Burnley. You think even with Burnley's finances going up, might have, and the parachute payments from before, they might have tried to get to the next level. So it's very, very strange. I still don't know why Dave has Josh Honohan down as Joshua. A bit too formal for my liking. I don't know why that's going on there.
Mr. Joshua.
Mr. Joshua Honohan. Like, I don't know what's going on with Dave there, but yeah, it's good that. Go on.
Yeah, I was just thinking there, if you're saying Omobamidele could be leaving France, okay, so he should be due to serve a suspension for the red card, though. So if he was to leave, I've just, I don't know why this is coming to my head. Perhaps one of the Royal Faithful can answer this. So if you're sent off for a club like he would be, and then he comes to England, he doesn't have to, obviously, he's not suspended into that league, is he? If he went back to France, though, is that suspension come back into play?
That's a good question. which
There you
I
go.
don't know.
No,
But it's only it was 2 yellow cards, but it was only a 1-game one. But strange one. That's a
Yeah.
good question, Martin. Smartest thing you've
There
ever
you
said,
go.
to be honest.
It is actually.
Not bad.
I'm
Not
impressed
bad
myself there on that one for a Monday night. It's not a bad one.
not bad for an Englishman.
Yeah. Just to thank you all, nearly up to 1,000 viewers this evening, and apologise that we can't have subtitles to kind of clarify some of Connor's comments with the extreme accent going on there. But
what are you trying to say?
All right, what about you? Right, we're going to go on to the midfielders. Okay, so Irish midfielders. This is Killian Phillips, just called up into the Ireland squad, of course. 90 minutes and 1-1 draw versus Celtic. Cousin Will Smallbone, 30 minutes for Southampton against Everton. Jack Taylor, 19 minutes for Ipswich. John Joe Patrick Finn, again, a debutant, hopefully for Ireland soon. He had 20 minutes there, I think, for Stade Reims.
I don't know what's going on. They're doing my head in them graphics. I don't know why that's happened. I think it's the way the thing was placed.
I didn't watch Everton. I watched the kind of little bit when obviously Sheamus came out and that kind of stuff. But how did Cousin Will play?
Actually done all right when he come on. Like thing is he's technically he's an excellent player, and he always, as Shane Long says, he's a wand of a right foot on him. He strikes the ball so well, and like you can see technically he's very good. It's just about getting more out of him. Maybe just athleticism might let him down a wee bit for competing that high at the next level. But no, he done well. I thought when he came on, he didn't do anything that you thought he couldn't. He looked out of his depth. He hit the post actually with a shot, and he done all right. And it's great to see Killian Phillips actually. He kind of cleaned up at the St Mirren Awards. One was it Fans Player of the Year? No, Social Media Player of the Year, which I think was Fans Player of the Year. I think it was just fans voting. He won the actual Club Player of the Year, and he won some SMISA or something. I don't know whether it was a supporters group or something, Player of the Year as well. And I don't know if you've seen the video of him talking up on my socials earlier, of him talking about what it meant for him to get his first call up, saying it was the best day of his life, that he shed a tear or two on the way home and after realizing what actually had happened. So which is great when you see him play for Ireland 21s and underage level. You see how much it means for him to actually play for his country, and he's sort of lad that you just hope will do so well, and like maybe he's our next modern day James McLean in that aspect. Interestingly, he does a similar thing when minute silence is on, but he seems a top lad. He absolutely loves his country, and he had an excellent season at St Mirren. I think he'll be there next year because they had an option to buy, and they'll definitely be purchasing him. I don't know whether another club will try and come in and try and take him off their hands and pay a bit of money towards them and get him from Palace. But he had a brilliant season, probably his best season in senior football as of yet, and it's great that he's been kind of a late bloomer. He was playing Leinster Senior League up to I think it was 16, and then he went to Drogheda and played it for them for a couple of years before going to Palace, and it's kind of a good story. Like he was never even with the Ireland under 21s the last campaign. It wasn't even like if you said the first choice midfield, you'd be saying probably would have been Matt Healy and Joe Hodge in the deeper positions, and Phillips would have been on the bench, and he's kind of shown that you don't have to be a real star at 21 level to kick on a senior level. So it's a great story to have Killian Phillips now in the senior squad.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that he'll embrace that when he comes in, of course, because, like these lads, they do want to play, don't they? So, yeah, brilliant story, as you said. Right, we're just going to finish up now with the attackers, and then we'll get on to your comments. So, for Ireland's forwards, Ryan Manning is classed as a forward in this. Unused sub for Southampton. Bestie Ebisele, unused sub for Istanbul. Evan Ferguson, unused sub for West Ham. I've seen a lot of criticism over that over the weekend as well. And Adam Eder, 54 minutes in Celtic's game. And Kasey McAteer, as you mentioned at the outset of the programme, 80 minutes and his first Premier League goal for Leicester. And Troy Parrott is out injured at the moment. And Sammy Schmonix says injured as well, but we know he's on the road back to recovery. Although he may not be joining up with the squad. We'll have to see how he's going to get on in the latter part of the season, of course. Only a few weeks to go, obviously, till the big friendly games against Senegal on a Friday night in Dublin, and then off to Luxembourg.
Yeah, I don't think Sammy Schmonix is going to be there, to be honest, because if he doesn't play this next weekend at all, why are Ipswich they're not going to let him come and play for Ireland, like after not playing a single minute, like. So I think we could probably give up. It's not like, I'd imagine maybe we were going into a major tournament or something, or qualifiers in the summer, he would have got himself, or Ipswich would let him come because he probably would push for that. But I think with two friendlies, I don't think he's gonna come out. AZ Alkmaar, their season isn't finished just yet. They're now in the playoffs for the European places. So I think it's Heerenveen they're playing this week. I don't know what way. I think it's like a semi-final and a final, and then the winner of the final gets the last European place in the Netherlands, which is quite a unique way of doing it. Hopefully he's back, because he's been out actually a good few weeks now at this stage. We didn't expect it to be that bad. Was it since the cup finally missed it? He has been out since, and yeah, it's disappointing to have him out for that long, because he always seems to score a couple of goals every now and then at least. And I think with the Ferguson thing, I'm sick of seeing the comments, and when I post he's on the bench, it's like I think people and they're surprised. Like at this stage, West Ham are playing for nothing. West Ham play with about 9 defenders a game, and people are talking about Fulcrook. Fulcrook doesn't even get starting anymore, because he plays with 1 million defenders and plays like a front two of Bowen and Kudus. And Julian Laurens, if you've seen last night, saying that Maradona will be turning his grave with playing Thomas Souček as a number 10, which is reality is probably spot on, like, because it's shocking what West Ham are doing. Like, it's not even the Ferguson thing at this stage. It's like, what is this man trying to achieve by they've nothing to play for, this many games left, last game of the season with their at home for their fans to have a bit of hope going to next season, and he kind of just parked the bus. And I know Forest are going for Europe for Champions League football, but let's give us something. Like, and he was at Brighton, and like if he played like that at Brighton, he'd probably be shot, because that's not the way they go. And you'd wonder what the Chelsea experience, I know he has PTSD from what happened there, because but yeah, it's shocking what's going on there. And even I don't know if you've seen Fabianski giving out saying that he didn't get any minutes because he wanted to get a send off at the club, because it was, I think it's 8 years he's been there, and it was his final home game. So it seems to be all's not great in the West Ham camp at the moment. And the sooner this weekend gets done and out of the way for Ferguson, probably the better, because we all know that it's just a bad period, and he'll be back.
Yeah, I mean, look, we want Ferguson back with Brighton, really, and see how he gets on with a kind of full pre-season ahead of him. But yeah, like a basket case club, Mikel Antonio got injured during the season. They rely so much on Bowen, and they've not been helped to Ireland over the years. If they with the Declan Rice situation, we're still not going to let that go with the owners there. But yeah, just a mess of a club.
I have a question actually for people in the comments. We see Emi Martinez in the comments. Oh, sorry, in the comments. Sorry, at the Villa's game at the weekend at Villa Park, the last home game, going around crying and waving at the crowd, like something is in the works for him to move on, maybe in the summer, which makes me think: is that a possible club we could see Caoimhín Kelleher head to in the summer? There could be in the Champions League. Kelleher will probably want to be playing in the Champions League. He won't be playing as the highest level possible, and they could do it at Premier League proven keeper at that level. And Kelleher, I think, could come in. And Unai Emery, I think at the start he wasn't the biggest fan of Martinez, because he doesn't like that loudmouth type of personality. I don't think it's the worst thing, to be honest, because Josh Keeley does a bit of it with the penalty shootout as well. So I think whatever it takes to win, do that. But no, I think Aston Villa would be an excellent move for him. I know see people in the comments agreeing, and it would be that sort of club where they're on an upward trajectory, they're willing to spend money, and hopefully you could see Kelleher go there, or as I've said before, Chelsea. Like the Chelsea should be really heavily going for him, but when you're a delusion thinking Man United should go for him, but we've had enough of that.
No, it's a great point. I think Martinez could be going from Villa. I mean, you don't know as well some of these kind of international players. These and Martinez, that could be a move to a like top European club, Champions League club that like he might just has his agent working on that move for a couple of years or whatever.
Probably Barcelona or someone. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. And then it opens the door there, doesn't it? And like you said, these clubs now, the Premier League's so competitive. Teams going into Europe, massive opportunity for Kelleher, and I hope he gets it right. His choice, if he does have a say, of course he will to some extent. But I hope he'd be one that we all want to see playing week in, week out, and that will cement his position as number one, obviously, for Ireland. So
there's something there. Darragh O'Shea has won Ipswich Town's Player of the Season. He's another one that we'd be looking to get him moving or something. I know it's been a terrible season for Ipswich, but he's actually had a brilliant season. If you look at the stats and you look at, usually with a defender and that sort of team, they might give away a bad good season. He's made 0 errors that have led to a goal, and he's played at right back, played centre half, been made captain at times in his first season at the club, which shows how talented he is. And he's really, like last season at Burnley, he didn't have a great year, to be honest. He was all right. There was times he struggled because what was his second spell in the Premier League. And to be honest, it would probably be a great thing if we could get him to another Premier League club. I know Celtic wanted him last summer. We don't want him going there, to be honest. But maybe if Collins moves on from Brentford, or Brentford are still looking for another centre half, maybe that could be the move for Darryl Shea.
Yeah, like, again, very experienced pro now. Lots of appearances behind him and different levels, relegation battles. And I know it's not always worked out and stuff, but a real solid, decent pro. I don't think he'd be unsettling in the dressing room, would he? And offers balance, play with side. Really, really good shout. I think that we need to get him out of there.
Just looking at Twitter here, looking at Graham Bailey, who's quite reliable transfer journalist, has said that Newcastle and Villa are pushing heavily for Kelleher this summer. So it could be a bit of a bidding war for who can get Ireland's number one in the summer. And I have to say, if he goes to either of them clubs, I think we'd all be absolutely delighted, because we've seen with the connection at Newcastle with Shea Given in the past, and even Shea Given was at Aston Villa as well, but maybe wasn't his best years. But hopefully this is the start of Kelleher establishing himself really as one of the best keeper in the league.
All right. Yep. Right. We're going to get on to your comments now. Just over 1,000 of you watching this evening. Make sure that you have all subscribed to the page. Follow Connor at Rep Tracker, and follow us as well, Lansdowne ROAR, @LRAW_pod on X as well. And obviously catch up with Dave on Lansdowne Road on Facebook for all the latest Irish news as well. Did you say don't?
Yeah,
Don't upset him. Right. We are going to be obviously covering all of Ireland's football coming up in the June window. We'll have the match previews, the finalisation of the squad. We're going to have an award show very, very soon, where we're going to be talking about who we think has had the best season for Irish players, even including a little bit of negativity, which I'm not a big fan of course. To say who.
Are you creating an award here?
Flattered to receive, flattered to deceive even. But appreciate your support this evening. Make sure you are following us coming into this June window as well, with lots of content coming out there. If you want to see us do any specific videos as well, or any shows on specific topics, let us know as well. And we will make sure. I know there's been a lot of comments tonight about who's on the show, who's not on the show. I know we'll get we'll get a Man United kind of aligned treble for you, the real genuine treble. We'll get the three of us on a show very, very soon, when Dave isn't working so hard or has a day off. I don't know. We would
have a day off, will you?
Yeah, you'd love to be. We're looking at exploring lots of different content with the show. I mean, we might even do it as a surprise one day. Just add one of the Raw faithful, into a WhatsApp group with Dave, and you can see the nonsense for yourself. Anyway, we're gonna get on.
I heard there was a rumor around the day of is not because people are refusing to subscribe.
Maybe that's right. Yeah, you have to subscribe to get Dave on this. He wasn't very happy with the percentages and stuff. So make sure you have subscribed. We're going to come on to your comments. Right, as I said, thanks for your support this evening. I know we start a little bit later, but just a few little technical issues sometimes. Obviously, we have no production behind us apart from Dave. Busy. Well, Connor as well, of course, but we don't have a producer of the show, so it's a bit off the cuff sometimes. But we did start late, and as Ronaldo, thank you for picking us up on that, mate. Where's the stream, and when's it starting? And Alex applauds that, so that's quite nice as well. And it was great to see. Obviously, Celtic is back.
Good man, Celtic.
You come on, Celtic. Yeah, great to see you. And chatting about Kasey McAteer. Fair fucking enough, said Ronaldo. Story boys, Oisin Fitzgerald, and everyone had a bit of a love in then, chatting with each other. Daniel 2606, chatting away, saying hello to Celtic, and a bit of a love in there, and Nick, of course, as well. So then we started chatting, of course, and Ronaldo said, "How you boys? We're feeling good today." And then we had a little bit of technical analysis, of course. So a question for the Raw faithful.
Good to see you back.
Rolling Stone, yeah. Carries no moss. How many midfielders today can actually play disguised passes? I struggle to think of even 5. So we're talking about technical, sneaky kind of players. There's some very talented players out there, though, isn't there, Connor?
I could name 5 in the League of Ireland who could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The lads are then chatting amongst themselves. Celtic Symphony, Daniel, I'm good, and yourself. Ronaldo, I'm good. So looking forward to hearing Connor and Dave. Oh, I shouldn't be offended by that. Talk ball, and then Alex says Martin's putting on his tan, so they'll be here in a minute, lads. Listen, I can't stop
Unlucky.
the Basque coming out sometimes.
Unlucky.
1% Basque. And the lads are just chatting away, and then I get even a bigger insult. Who's Martin? I ran the show. And then Dave and Martin carry the show.
Well
Thanks very
said.
much. Yeah. And then Rolling Stone, hopefully they will talk about the Sky's passes. It's becoming extinct in the game. So,
What?
well, you know,
we
we
want to
can't
talk
have
about
that. There's
this.
some amazing passes in football this season in all levels. You can think of Ireland goals and games.
Does Lennon Miller not do that, Rolling Stone?
Yeah. And then Dave criticising us for not being here on time. I like them passing that go between the legs of Celtic. And where's David? And then Connor. All right, so lots of chats. We got a question for Connor from Tony in LA. Hi, lads. Question for Connor. Presuming we qualify, is there a youngster, a granny rule player, a rapidly improving player, or all three that you think could be a dark horse to make the final World Cup squad?
Good question.
Very good question.
Tony's afraid to put Tony in LA anymore after his comments after Celtic got to go with him the other night. But probably the standard obvious one right now is probably Dewsbury Hall. And then I could see the likes of Shea Lacey at Man United is a top talent. Struggled a bit with injuries over the last year, but he's an unbelievable player. Trying to think, is there anyone else really that you could maybe think? Like obviously the standard was like Dennis Circle and stuff, but and then maybe moved on from him at this stage. Louis Barry is another one, but I think he's more that we'll probably very likely see him in the Ireland jersey before then. And I'd maybe say Dewsbury Hall and maybe Shea Lacey would maybe be the standout eligible player as such, because he's an unbelievable player, and he could maybe be the sort of player what I know how proud his family is of their Irish connections. He could be maybe one that could be doable if we qualify for the World Cup, maybe.
And we'll know if we qualify. Well, we won't know for certain, but we obviously the campaign's finished in November, starts in September, 6 games, of course, and we'll be at all of those following it for the channel, of course. But we'll have an idea where we are in the end of November, and obviously the season's going to be of really importance to anyone like on the periphery, or even a rising star that could come out of the woodwork. They're going to have to make a very late kind of push on that. I think he'll be very loyal if we get there to the lads who have qualified. Obviously, injuries can impact as well. But, late on, you just don't know, do you? Like, a player could just break through. I mean, I don't want to talk about England too much, but, Theo Walcott, it was just...
It won't be a player in England. It won't be a player in England. A certain lad playing in Portugal is going to break through by that stage of the season. By the time the World Cup comes around. And he's going to be our Lamine Yamal.
But there you go. But you just don't know. Like, even for example, Morehouse at United and stuff. If he got a run of games for some reason, had a brilliant preseason, and just kicks in there, you just don't know, do you? Like, I'd say it's probably very, very unlikely. But some players just kind of, I don't know, will Ireland kind of gamble on bringing a player late in like that? Is just how I can see it. It has to be exceptional. Like the one for me, Mason Melia, maybe. You just don't know how he settles into Spurs. You would not know. That would.
It just depends the level of players playing up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then Dave apologises. Sorry, Celtic, not tonight. So, and then Nick, can Lennon Miller play a disguised pass? Rolling Stone. No, David. Oof, said Jack O'Connor. It's fine, Dave. Ronaldo loves a bit of disguised passes now, and Rolling Stone is back, says Tony LA. Dave is my favourite member of. Right, that is not finished. So, please, can the Raw faithful now comment? What is Dave your favourite member of? Okay.
So, don't give people an open floor, because God knows what they're going to put in.
Baylor, I was talking to Heimir yesterday, and he told me that Didsy's seat is already booked for the upcoming World Cup.
Get in there. Come on,
There
Didsy.
you go. And we should really do it again, Connor. We should just have 5 seconds of reflection for Didsy, the king.
Why are you suddenly licking his arse? What have you come
Listen,
to?
me and Didsy shared a moment in Cork Airport the
You've told us
morning
stories
after.
somewhere.
The morning after he was left out of the Ireland squad.
Disgraceful.
Dave and Connor's chemistry is unmatched, says Ronaldo. Well, look, that's just the brotherhood.
I disagree.
MUFC Gladiator, follow, because United are going to build. There'll be thousands of Reds. We'll be pissed off of Reds because United are going to build. Oh, nice one. Go rude boy soldier, said Gary Johnson. Jack O'Connor, it's a pity we can't have the fluidity of Martin, Connor, and David. So a triangle is my favourite shape. Very true.
Very well put, Jack.
And then we've got another comment about United. Good man, Jack. Says Dave. Kieran Kelly, don't know how fit Sheamus Coleman, Troy Parrott, and Sammy Schmolitz are going to be for next month's friendlies. Say there will be a few more call-ups in the next week or two. No game time for Everton. No game time again for Everton Ferguson at the weekend. Easy for us. Sheen Fitzgerald, Shop Gladiator, Liverpool won the league. You clown.
Has he changed his profile picture again?
Sheen.
Did he not have a picture of someone else? Sheen
Yeah.
at the start, he did.
Maybe.
He did. What's that? Eden? Who's Eda's head he's touched? Who's Eda on the head?
I don't even know who that is.
Is that an AI of Eda on like someone playing for one of these other countries we're going to be playing?
I don't know. All right, lads. Says Andrew Oshin here that Kasey goal was proper class. Defo clears Schmolix. And then Ronaldo again. Kasey McAteer, fair if I can. James Agnew, one of our writers. So do check out Lansdowne ROAR.ie. Some brilliant articles on there. And good to see you, James, watching along this evening. Lads, any rumours as to where Aaron Connolly might pitch up next? A move down to League One, maybe? See that happening, Connor?
Hopefully not. Because he is still a very talented player, but you never know.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to be a good squad player somewhere, isn't he? And he offers something.
I know, but the thing is, I see him at Hull last season, and he was the main number 9 over Liam Delap. People seem to forget Liam Delap was shifted out into the right hand side, so he can still be a very good player in the championship. And it's just about getting the right club. And as you said, he even said he had his best year in the championship whilst he was in the worst frame of mind. So it's hard to know, really.
But contractually, if he's out of contract, same as probably Obafemi, right? For a good signing on, for a decent signing on from his agent, will get him, and he'll get him decent money, and it's up to them then. And it will be a short contract. It will be, you'd expect, incentivized that you got to perform basically to earn your money, and otherwise we cut our losses and stuff. That's the way a lot of it is, and that's how you sometimes get a lot of journeymen just go around. They're pros, but they don't give a shit about playing. Not really. Jack O'Connor, this is in relation to my request for any interaction to see anyone been at Goodison Park, and he was at Goodison Park in September 2017 for Everton against Apollon Limassol in the UEFA Europa League. Magical ground, so it is. You can smell the oxygen. Okay. Scene of Ireland's victory against England many years ago. Goodison Park. Rolling Stone. I'm not sure if Odegaard can, and he is considered. This is about the sneaky passes, I believe. I'm not sure if Odegaard can, and he is considered one of the most creative players in the Premier League.
Not this season. Not this season.
No, but just chatting about the sneaky passing. I think I'm still raving about McAteer's performance from the weekend. He carries the ball like a bulldog. He is ambidextrous also. Great goal. It wasn't an easy finish. And that's just talking about Kasey McAteer, who scored for Leicester over the weekend. Andrew, both my teams losing tonight. Ha ha. At least I get off my sofa and go to the games. Fair play.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a bit hard for me to go to the games when I work for the league and Martin lives in England.
Yeah, I don't know if he's calling us out, is he?
I don't know whether it's a joke or not, but some people might think that we're just ignoring the games.
Maybe, yeah. MUFC Gladiator, Odegaard is a bottler. Bruno is way better. Ronaldo says Odegaard is all hair flicks, no bottle. And here, boys, says Oshin Fitzgerald. Here, boys, Shamey. Defo had the shits. He was sprinting off the pitch.
Could be true.
A bit like when Roy Keane did that in Paris, but that was because he'd forgot his kind of underslip in his shorts. any of you remember that. Gaelic edits. Is it true JJ Gabriel was eligible for Ireland? He's brilliant. He's an absolute baller. He is, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Joe
Joe
Kirul. Is that how you
Kirul,
pronounce his second
yeah.
name? His
Yeah.
son. So yeah, his father's an ex-Ireland international.
He is, yeah. At Man United as well. So finding out a little bit more about him, but yeah, hoping that he'll probably be a bit more established at Man United this year. And then this obviously about the Kasey McAteer photo which we put up, which was what's happened to his arm. Oisin Fitzgerald, surely you tell us, Gaelic edits. You told us last time you had all the sauce at United. You clown. And Scuzzy, Gaelic edits. Where does he play? I'm just going to go on to this because it's quite a good little trail. I'm not sure. I was just told he's eligible for Ireland by lads at United. Did the FAI know this? They do know that, don't they?
Do people like the FAI scouts don't? The FAI scouts are as good as any scouts. It's just that they don't pick squads and they don't make the final decision. People, they obviously know. They obviously know he's eligible, so don't worry.
Rolling Stone, Frankie de Jong is considered one of the Barcelona's most creative players, and he can't do it. That is insane. And this is just about the sneaky passes, which is this show never fails to surprise me. Ronaldo, McAteer reminds me a lot of the great Francesco Totti. Healy should be barred from the squad, says Ronaldo.
He's doing his lads. He just goes against Josh Keelan or what?
He's about McAteer. I hope you ain't serious.
He's on with Jason.
420. Yeah. What happened to that Louis Barry guy? Thought he was going to be in the last squad. No, Connor.
He was injured. Do you remember he went to Hull, played about 2 games, and then done his knee. So he's been out since with knee injury.
Scuzzy, that was a disgraceful result for Pats, and Pats could have done with Keely in goal.
So you're on board the squad, but Pats could do it on goal. I don't know why he's trying to wind me up or not, but they could have done with Keely in goal. And Nang was
Rory McDonald says, did you see Heimir wants to have a coffee with Roy Keane and wants him to come into the squad there to meet the lads? He also invited Shay Given. We did see that. We spoke about it a little bit earlier. I was with Shay Given about 3 weeks ago. Another name dropped to pick up off the floor, and a little clip that we will post up again on our socials. So do go and check that out of him talking about where he believes Kelleher should possibly move to. In good form as well. Shay does a great job now on Football Focus and England and stuff and Sky and everything. He's covering a lot of football, isn't he? Dermot Byrne could do with Keno in the camp. Yeah, Jesus, he'd wake
for about
up
10 minutes. For about 10 minutes,
yeah.
Then he can leave.
Scuzzy, Heimir wandered into my wedding during the reception when he was just appointed.
Hope you give him a hug.
Brilliant. Yeah. I was going to do a joke there. Prima Nocturne. You know what that is?
Nope.
Okay, we'll see if anyone does get it. Dave will know what that is. That's
laugh at
your Braveheart. It's a Braveheart joke. That was the thing that anyway. Oisin Fitzgerald. That's Rory McDonald. I'll get Heimir on the overlap. He speaks better than the clowns they have on it. And that's bollocks, Scuzzy, haha. It says Oisin. And then Ronaldo, get Heimir gone. Although I'd love to pick his brains, I've had enough. We need pure Irishmen, not some Icelandic, Jamaican Bath.
Why is he Jamaican? Just because he managed them.
Jack O'Connor. Hi, Rory. I'd love to pick Roy's brains. Fierce mentality and no nonsense standards make him a goldmine of football wisdom. Just a few minutes with him would be priceless for my development. And Dermot Byrne. I miss when we had proper techie footballers like Houlihan and McGeady. Oh, wow. Just going to come on to this other bit. McGeady. Love McGeady. For fuck's sake. He used to use him on FIFA in the end game. Yeah, I mean, McGeady, amazing talent, but just didn't deliver often enough for Ireland. The goals.
Unbelievable club player. But
fantastic talented player. And but you know, I've heard about him on different podcasts I've listened to, and you kind of think of I think of him, Aidan McGeady, and I don't think of him as kind of anyway like a Dave. He's not volatile or aggressive. I wouldn't think of him, no. But apparently, he used to fall out with Strachan all the time and was quite bolshy and stood up for himself, took no nonsense and stuff. I think the kind of way I understand it now is that he would have been quite a character in the squad and I think, would undoubtedly with the talent he had, probably was able to do that, I suppose. Dave Dunn is saying facts on Coleman. Jesus. Harrison Daglish, good to see Harrison. Evening. Keno won't go near Heimir or this current setup. Roy had a grudge against the FAI. He's quite a childish figure. Good luck to him.
No, I think he would. I think he would.
Roy's. He said he spoke to him at Wembley, didn't he?
Yeah, and I seen them after Heimer's very first game at the Viva when we lost to England, having a conversation with him on the sideline after it for about 10 minutes. So, no, I think
No.
Keane would probably. Keane hated Kenny. It was obvious. I remember when he did something with the overlap about giving out about Kenny getting the job at the time, but I don't think he really would have anything against Heimir as such.
And I think Keane as well, like, the fact he goes to the League of Ireland, he knows a lot of these lads as well and stuff. And, you see him on the overlap chatting to,
he does though. He loves to mention he's Irish and stuff about Ireland. So I think.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, without a doubt. And, and he'll dig them out, but kind of in jest. And we know where it's come from and all that. But, I think it's not really, you're saying he's got a grudge with the FAI. And yet he called Delaney a clown or whatever and don't believe anything from him, which was probably a good assessment of the sense. But, he ended up taking a job with him, didn't he, with Martin O'Neill and stuff. So, Roy, we never thought Roy would play again after he walked out so pan and he was back. So, in playing capacity and management coaching capacity. So there you go. Oshing for Cheryl, because Keno has proper mentals, Harrison. FAI is full of pussy, well, he's a proper winner. Not his fault if I loses while he's winning. Okay. Rolling Stone, Alan Hudson got in an argument with Ray Parlour about Arsenal's greatest player. And
where are you getting this?
And Hudson insisted it was Liam Brady.
Who's Alan Hudson?
He played for us years ago.
Before you were even born, I'd say.
Yeah, just before me, yeah. So, yeah. Tony in LA, Connolly and Obafemi should go off somewhere and start their own team. They can't seem to get on with anybody. And Harrison says, hi, Oshin. Please think before speaking, will you? Keane walked out on the country when it mattered. He let Sir Alex dictate when he could play for his country. He can get in the bin. There you go. Very unforgiving, Harrison. Dermot Byrne, I thought Oba was going to the moon when he was at Southampton. He had all the attributes, a proper tenacious team. Yep, was there in Aarhus the night when Martin O'Neill put him on, very young. Then, of course, and, tied him into Ireland with that decision, but hasn't kicked on since then. A great goal, of course, against Scotland, but that's just it.
It was like 3 years ago or 4 years ago last week.
Yeah. Rolling Stone, Evan needs to go to a surgeon.
What, do you know why?
Yeah. What's he got? Patella, is it?
No, it's a pantella. It's not his patella. It's his pantella. Poor F.
Ryan, I genuinely don't know where we spoke about this earlier, but talking about the rumour back to Galway last winter, but it never materialised. You spoke about that a bit earlier. Connor, who do you even support? And then you didn't even get the opportunity to answer this, Connor, because Celtic knows you so well. He supports Man United. And then Andrew says, I mean his local team. Or does he not follow the League of Ireland? Connor, don't you follow the League of Ireland? Do we not do a League of Ireland show, Connor?
No, I don't follow it. It's not like I have a job that works for the League of Ireland. Or
you can read Connor's views in the Irish Times and the Irish Football Match Programme and various other.
But like I do. It's not like I work for the League of Ireland.
No,
every Friday.
You cover it though, don't you?
Yeah, I do. But no, I don't have a local team anymore. Obviously, because Man United's gone bust. But back every Friday night, we used to go to Gordy Keegan. The first year we got promoted to the Premier Division to go bust. So, it's a bit hard to start supporting another club when your team has gone bust. I'm sure Andrew would know that if St. Pat's went bust, he's not going to start supporting Rovers or Bows or something. So it's hard to start supporting another team, but still, like, you still watch the league every Friday night and tonight on Monday night. Like, I was watching night games over Premier League, so which I think is the good thing. A lot of Irish people are getting more drifted towards watching a League of Ireland game on a Monday night rather than watching that Brighton versus Liverpool game.
Yeah, and also in England, I think there's been a big rise in support now. Like even my kind of situation, I suppose. kids as well, being able to go to non-league matches, national league, things like that. It's just kind of safer environment in a sense, and cheaper to go, and local and things like that. Priced out now with this mad commercial Premier League world, and it's so exciting as well. These levels as well, and League of Ireland's massively. Obviously, you can see the fan culture. I mean, one thing. I mean, we not to go off on one, but Crystal Palace. Fantastic achievement for them winning their first trophy the other day. Did you watch the cup final in England, Connor?
Yeah, I did. When I was in Liverpool at the weekend.
Stuff,
yeah, I was saying that.
Even the coverage though before, the fan culture of Palace. I mean, other teams sometimes rip the piss out of Palace because they've kind of got their ultras and South London, and it's. But they put a lot of effort into that Tifo thing, and then they. All marched to the ground together. They were down in central London in Covent Garden, all tidied up after themselves. But some teams would take the piss out of that. But I think it kind of reminded me a little bit like some of the stuff that they do in the League of Ireland. Trying to get this fan culture going. Which if we saw that, I saw a really good point on Twitter earlier. Someone said, if you saw the Palace fan stuff that they did in Wembley in Italy on the night of a Champions League game, everyone would be going, that looks fucking brilliant. That, but you think people take the piss because it's Crystal Palace. But I think you need more and more of that in football, because the fan culture is obviously so important.
Fan culture in England is so stupid. I might say that, like it's stupid. It's just sort of thing that if we don't do it, no one else doing it makes sense. Or if the way we do it is different. Like even think of PSG fans going into the ground 40 minutes before the game against Arsenal, getting an atmosphere going, and they're like, oh yeah, you should be in the pub having a pint with you. But like football is different in different countries. Even like the sort of thing, like even United, when Take Me Home United Road used to not get played before games, people are like, no, never do that. That's just a Scouse thing to do, but obviously you never walk alone. And then as soon as it gets in, the atmosphere improves so much more in Old Trafford, because it's a build up of atmosphere before the game. But people are just, they don't like to go away from what they're used to, and everything else is not what they're used to is stupid.
It is, and just to bring that around to the Irish context, even the match day fan going to an Ireland game and the kind of Lansdowne Road Aviva Stadium experience, we've tried the bands, we've tried all those, the big flags and things like that. That Chris, why Big have got involved with that. Obviously, the singing sections there, and it's not been ridiculed, but it just they don't persist with it, and you have to persist with those things to get it going. Is what I would say on that, because there's definitely opportunities. I mean, I know why Big have organized like a meeting point, so everyone will walk together, kind of march on the stadium and stuff, which is I think it's great. And you want to have a hostile welcome sometimes, some of these teams coming in, just a bit too sanitized now, some of this. Just coming on to the question I said earlier as well, read out Rolling Stone, why do young fans insist that today's footballers are more technically gifted? We'll come on to them comments in a little while. Michael Noonan, fair fucking enough, says Jack O'Connor. Stupid talent. Old enough 420. Maybe it's a reverse phenomenon of old people saying that music was better in the old days. Very good point. Rolling, it's called recency bias. Children doing childish things, although Messi and Neymar are from a different era, but these players such as Palmer and Vinicius are well overrated. Any thoughts on that, Connor, as a young buck?
Not answering.
They are Jack O'Connor. Yes, they are way more technically gifted. Show me a clip of centre backs in the 90s putting their studs on the ball to create separation and build up. Nonsense from you, Mr. Stone.
Well said.
I mean, look, they're technically more gifted. The games are a lot more quicker. I think some of the exceptionally talented players from years ago would have easily coped and been fantastic today. But
the thing is, that's not, you're not wrong. Like, it's just your average player, like your average lower Premier League player or even Championship player is so much better than what it was, which isn't a knock against, but every sport evolves. Even when you look at sports like boxing, MMA, every sport evolves over the years, gets better, players get to a higher standard, athletes
and
get
fitness,
better.
Obviously, fitness, facilities, conditioning, nutrition, all those things, of course, factors. One thing I'd say though, did you see the overlap with Sean Dyche on it when he's saying that lads going into academies now, that they're making these players come out and you're seeing less of technical ability because he was saying, I saw it earlier actually, he said, I will say, can you just clip that ball 25 yards outside of your foot to our right winger? And the player will turn around and go, I can't do that. Like, their job is they're just conditioned now. I mean, I think we are overcoaching massively.
I think it's more people have been brought in to fit a role, and they look at a player. What I've seen is a lot of clubs assess players as what they can think they can develop them in. They look at someone, even if they're not maybe that technically gifted now, they think maybe, oh yeah, we work with them every day, and look at their freak athleticism and look how their body will develop. We can turn them into a player that we can make the most of. But I've heard from people that that sort of thing is starting to change, because most players now are at a decent level athletically, unless you're really far, like someone is unfortunately really slow or really bad on the turn or something, but that would make a difference. But I've heard that sort of thing, that because it used to be a big thing of it still is at the moment, of like finding the best athletes, and then we'll just turn them into footballers, because it's a really American thing, isn't it? They always look at, they always say it's like, oh, we find the biggest, fastest, strongest man is always the best at every sport, when in reality Messi's the best ever player to play football, and it wasn't all about that with him. And yeah, so thing is, like, the reality is we've seen the best 17-year-old we're ever going to see, we possibly will ever see playing football at the moment. So it's not that Everton's been completely coached out of him. It's more, maybe it's in England with these clubs, but I don't know what Dyche is really going on with like that much, because when someone's playing at Burnley had one of the worst academies in England. I've seen they've only got one now, but for years and years they never ever brought academy players through.
We are going to have a chat on the show again. We're going to get some coaches in, I think, because it's something I'm passionate about. And the English FA have made a change now to the kind of structure of age groups and playing. They're going to keep some of them back now. Of you play 9v9 rather than going to under 11 too early, kind of thing, and even going into this 3v3 kind of setup and stuff. So it's going to be interesting how they're adapting to get more touch on the ball for young players playing. But I was at something with Tottenham youth academy about a year and a half ago, and what they're trying to develop in their footballing kind of strategy, and they were saying they were looking for twisty turny players. That was the phrase. So players who are comfortable twisting and turning in their own box, even they're just saying that it was never a player that they ever tried to develop. Crazy. But this is again why I think this is relevant, is because we're putting in place a football pathway in Ireland now, and coaches are going to be developed to kind of put that in place and put that into practice. And sometimes I think we just coach it out of kids, really, the natural.
The reality is, so Martin, there's a lot of places in Ireland where players aren't getting any coaching whatsoever. So if that comes in, it's going to be so much better than what's currently going on at the moment, because that's my point of
It's
view.
an interesting chat to have. So here comes Nick on this. I wouldn't say they're inherently more technically gifted, but they're coached and technically trained more than players of old. Yeah, I mean, look, even you think back to your own football. Well, I'm a lot older than you, Connor, but Jesus, the training they go through now, kids, is a lot different to coaching and what you're taught. Harrison Douglas, this new generation wouldn't be able to judge the game some of us grew up on. We haven't seen a player like Zidane, Ronaldo, Nazario, Van Basten, Figo, or Giggs in years. Makes me sad just reflecting.
What is he smoking?
That's not.
It's just a nostalgia thing. It's a nostalgia thing. People, I know, because I say, like, even I do with players when I'm younger, you think, oh, he was so good. But then you think of people thinking, like, it's even like, if you look at even now, Martin, you see people going on about the likes of Olivier Giroud and be like, oh, how good he was. He was absolutely crap at Arsenal. There was a reason they let him go to Chelsea. And he used to be, he was a brilliant finisher in the penalty box. Yeah, he scored those goals for France. But if you watched him play, he used to offer absolutely nothing to the game. Even Ozil was one of the best players ever you could watch when he got the ball at his feet. Absolutely brilliant. People talk about how great he was. But when they didn't have the ball, it was like they had 10 men, and it was always a thing, how do you fit Ozil into a system? Because it used to break a man down. And like, I don't, Harrison, I think you're overreacting, because like we have Lamine Yamal playing now, and I think he's one of the best players you could watch play. And it's just, you turn on TV just to watch him, and he's 70, he's 17 now, and at 16 he was the best player really in the Euros. So I think there's a lot of these players that people, we look back on and think how good we are, but then we seem to forget all the bad memories that they had.
Yeah, I think as well, like, you got to remember, like, some of these players, it's the consistency of them. Like Messi, Ronaldo, absolute freaks. The consistency to do it week in, week out, stay injury free as well, and not have a season off. I mean, look, Foden, for example, getting a lot of criticism. Man City hasn't had a great season. Rashford's done that as well. It's being able to go season upon season consistently, and I think that's when you look back at even Irish players, Roy Keane, to be at that level best midfielder in the Premier League over those years, without a doubt. The consistency to do that is just very underrated. Roy Keane, anyway, but in the context of the Premier League, Jack O'Connor, Rodri, Bellingham, De Bruyne, Odegaard, Bruno, Federico Valverde, Declan Rice, Joshua Kimmich, Alexis McAllister, Pedri, Bernardo Silva, Gavi, Nicola Barella. That's all players, I believe he's saying, can do this disguise passes. A Rolling Stone comes in and says Declan Rice.
No, maybe not Declan Rice. But like even when you look at the Varn, I can Jack Byrne could do that, Chris Forrester could do that, Dara Markey could do that. So I think he's just overreacting a bit here. I think he's just a nostalgia thing.
Yeah. Jack O'Connor, stop being so harsh on Bafemi. He'll find his feet. A player of his caliber always will. He's totally different cuisine. I would liken him to Defoe or David Villa. And Oberslander is devious. Let him do his
David
thing.
Villa, by the way?
David Villa.
Villa.
All right. David from Villa. They know him.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah. No. Obafemi, no. Bellingham is cheeks, technically, to be fair. Great athlete, though, says Nick. I can Rolling Stone. He's persistent. I can play a better disguise on my pass than Rice.
Can you?
Okay. Bellingham is the best in the world. Nick, says Oshin. Rolling.
Yeah, wait. Look
Stone, of that list. Petri,
by the way,
yeah.
Go to Oshin's profile picture again.
Yeah.
Guess who Adam Mead is putting his head on, or his hand on?
Who is it? Is it Armstrong?
Yeah,
it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
For fuck's sake. I didn't even know you guessed Sinclair on AI.
Good effort. Rolling Stone, of that list, Pedri, De Bruyne and Fernandes can really do it, but Fernandes has poor close control, so I'm not sure he counts. Ridiculous.
What's that got to do with disguise pass?
Exactly.
You're saying just this one attribute about disguise pass. I'm not talking about close control.
Bruno. Like, Jesus. Winston, you lot are watching the wrong footy, man. Pedri and Yamal are real ballers.
Yeah.
That PSG team, is peak.
Yeah.
Bellingham, style, man, move. Nick, technique-wise, Bellingham definitely is not. His second touch is always a jewel. Oh, great. This is a new. It used to be a second touch so bad. It's a second touch so tackle. Used to be there, not a jewel. God,
Lukaku.
Come on. Bellingham isn't stale. What? Schmolix is good. This gaffer needs to get him going, says Winston. Jack O'Connor, I have a confession. I don't see Schmolix like that. Seeing his qualities, but he strikes me as mentally inconsistent. Someone who is not always in the game 100%. Mentality is also a huge part of the game.
The last line is right, but I don't know why you're calling Sammy Schmolix.
Yeah, I think we were just chatting maybe about him. I don't know. Maradona will be turning in his grave watching De Jong and Gavi play for Barcelona.
What is he smoking? We've seen Alex Song playing in midfield for Barcelona in the greatest ever team ever at times. Do you remember that? And like Gavi, just the best midfielder in the world at the moment. Frank De Jong, absolutely unbelievable player. Like Rolling Stone. Do you watch Barcelona?
Nick says Haas on Thomas Suchek. Man scores goals. And then Lansdowne ROAR, fair play, like and subscribe. And make sure you have, please. Subscribe. Subscribe.
Oh, did I? Oh, I forgot the S.
Ab says follow. He's obviously supporting someone, I think, maybe going off to Spain, the Europa League. Gerard McCann. Yes, absolutely.
That's by Kelleher, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Scuzzy, 100% would be a good move. Oshin says Emery wants that Spanish lad from Espanyol. And Tony in, where is he? La La Land. BBC says Villa have made a big, but CK, Queven Kelleher, of course. Rolling Stone, I'm so grateful I live in the golden age of football where I can watch the best midfielder in the world play sideways passes. Jason Fitzsimmons, good to see you, Jace. Hopefully catch up with you in Luxembourg. Big support of the show. Villa would be a good shout. See you lads in Luxembourg.
Will do.
Nick, who's that Rolling Stone? Lennon Miller.
Fact.
People don't forget things on this today. Gerard McCann, Bournemouth. I think that's about where Queeving could perhaps go, is it? Abs, core, love a bit of this before bed. Austin Fitzgerald, why can't he go to the Celts? It's the biggest club in the UK, and we are in the Champions League. Brentford aren't in the Champions League. Ha ha ha, up the Celts. Where has this Kelleher to Man United and Newcastle started? He wouldn't be an upgrade on Onana and Nick Pope, says Jack O'Connor. Jason, good to see you on the pod, Brandy. See, someone sensible lad. Nick Pope has regressed a lot. I can see the interest in Kelleher, says Nick. And Celtic Symphony. Anyone here watch the PGA? So one of the pods on golf. Jason, who comes into the squad with Coleman injured?
Good question. Jimmy Dunn, his season finished early and he's on about he wants lads coming back from that aren't like that. Maybe he would just go and put, or maybe he just put an extra midfielder in or an extra attacker, or we call out up someone from the League of Ireland, but I don't think there's a real standout right back as such. Unless he maybe just said, oh, I'll just get Garcia McNulty or something like that. But I don't know what he'd do because there's no real right back as such. I can't really think of. Martin, can you that could maybe come in? But maybe you just pick up Jimmy Dunn or something.
Possibly, yeah. Gaelic Edits. How about a call-in show? Would love to see Rolling Stone on.
We'd never get him off.
Yeah. Nick, are you the Nick that was on the pod? Says Jason. And Nick says, no, I'm Nick Pope. Shake. Connor says, hi, Celtic. Yes, I watched it. Golf is the best sport in the world. I fell asleep at 11:30, but decent watch nonetheless. And then Jason says to Nick, not Nick Pope, or maybe it is Nick Pope. Are you leaving Newcastle so Gallagher can sign? Harrison says, Ken Hendrick was the last Irish player who could play those passes. Maverick.
I'm way off. Good luck, lads. See you, Brendan. I'll see you now.
Rolling Stone. See, you've ruined old Connor there. Rolling Stone. That's a nutmeg, not a disguised pass, you idiot. Ab says Jay DeBar might be the best player in Europe at winning fouls. Garrett McCann. Sykes is expected to leave Bristol City, according to the BBC. Manning has said he wants to sign a keeper too, to give O'Leary competition. Good place for Keeley to go on loan, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Possibly, yeah. And then Nick says yes. Scuzzy says boys' life. Nice. And then Max says think it's Sinclair Armstrong, which that is in relation to little avatar thing. Sel Keeley right now, the Dosser says Ronaldo. Abs watching him live, I couldn't get over how good Scales is. What a beautiful footballer. Rolling Stones, Scales, a beautiful footballer. Lol. Watching him live to Celtic, I can't get over how shite Scales is.
Did you see he was the who scored Scottish Premiership Player of the Season?
Yep.
Go on, Scalesy.
Scalesy, yeah. I mean, look, I think with Scales, he's he kind of different views of it, of course. A lot of Celtic fans I know as well and saying, oh, it's shite, not good enough. I think shame for him in a way, like Wembley happened when he got sent off. And then he kind of was left out and things like that. So obviously with the suspension and things like that. So I think there's a player there. It's got to click and be really consistent, and that's you can say that for every footballer, I suppose. Nick, I think Connolly and Ober will still get offers from promoted championship teams. If not, then maybe Scotland. That's not a bad shout, I think.
They could go there. They could easily see that I'm even playing like Syria or something like.
Anyone worried? Says Downtown. Anyone worried what happened to Obafemi and Connolly happens to Ferguson?
No,
I don't think so. I think it's just got to get him a pre-season, get him 100% fit. Okay, people are chatting about Man United for some reason on the one comment. Liam Scales is like Bleu de Chanel, calm, crisp, and always on point. Man's not out here doing mad tricks, but he holds it down, solid every time. Quiet confidence, no fuss, just pure levels, says Abs. Okay. Rolling Stone, Harvey Elliott can do it. Perhaps that's why Slot doesn't play him. Is that hoodie new, Connor? I think that is asked every week.
Because I had it on last week, didn't I?
Rolling Stone, Heimir on the overlap would be one clown too many. Don't think he owns any other hoodies, Celtics. And if you'd like to support the pod and Connor,
I'm broke idea.
Yeah,
struggling.
you can help us. You can support us, and can donate to. What was it? He spelled it wrong. They need a coffee thing. The average working class fan has been priced out of English football, says Gaelic Edits. The EFL will thrive in years to come. Disguise passes are as rare now in modern football as modal interchange in modern music, says Rolling Stone. Jason Fitzsimmons. Connor got it hard to dip into his communion money to buy the hoodie, never mind other hoodies.
Do you even wear hoodies in Cavan?
Tony in LA. Connor, I used to write for the Irish match programs. My first one was McCarthy's first match in charge against Russia in '96. All right, that's brilliant.
You there,
that one.
Were you there? Were you there?
96. No, I wasn't at that. No. I have the program though. I do have the match program. Ronaldo, where's Connor's hoodie from? Might pick one up. It's Castore Island's wonderful manufacturers of their kit. So that's what that is. Although it's last season's range, I believe. They've got a load of new stuff. I've seen the Heimir one from that clip earlier as well. It's nice. I like that.
It is nice. It actually is nice in person.
I'll let the viewers into a little snippet on this. Actually, I queried with the FAI. I had a chat with David Carell, and I said about the lack of merchandise in shops and things like that, and also said there's some things you can't get. And I was told some of Castore's stuff for the team is exclusive to the team, so they will never be brought out. Apparently, is one of the things. Which
when's that contract up, by the way?
Don't know. Don't know. But I did see that. Didn't they post the Castore brothers who started that company? Posted huge profits anyway. They're doing very, very well as a company. So I can't see them going.
Their clothes are nice. It just usually just falls apart. That's the problem.
Yeah. So
I think Martin doing that jersey, that Vata one's actually a really nice jersey.
It's just the little Vata one now. Spin it around. It's very nice.
They're a lot nicer even in real life, but they just fall up. The problem is just to fall apart.
Yeah, very nice it is. Yeah, very good little buy that from the Bulgaria game. Here comes Gaelic Edits. What do you make of the Irish atmosphere? Will it pick up for September? I'll come in there straight away. Yeah, will, without doubt. Like World Cup qualifier, we'll get a good June window out the way. Positive results, and then everyone's going to be excited for that September window. Get off to a good start. Big team, Portugal comes to Dublin as well after a while. Get some positive results. We're on the way to the World Cup. We're on holiday next summer, so that's it. Watching Ireland in America, and I think it'll be a good atmosphere, and hopefully they'll kind of come up with some plans to build that atmosphere, obviously around match day experience, which is very important. DK, lads, which country do you think offers best environment for a talented 16, 17-year-old Irish lad if he was to move abroad? Likes of Holland, Belgium, rather than Italy.
Holland, Belgium, Denmark, maybe Sweden, one of them countries. Just one of the countries that's more of a development, as even Heimir said himself, developmental league, that they look at a player and look at his assets and how we can improve him and bring him into the first team as soon as possible, and then sell him on for money in the future rather than just being a number in the academy and hoping that one day they might break through. But Holland, Belgium, Denmark, Sweden, one of them type of countries that hopefully that we would see the League of Ireland get in the future, that lads don't have to go look for that sort of level of coaching or pathway into a first team.
Mm-hmm. And then Rolling Stone, that doesn't explain why so few players today can play disguise passes. That's where we were chatting about coaching and overcoaching players and things like that. So, look, I think there are players. Well, look, there are undoubtedly players who've got that in their lockers, and I think that's not a correct thing to say that we don't have that kind of type of player anymore. Cool, a disguise pass, a simple action, but takes years of education. Carrick, Scholesy, etc. My boys, man, just love the game they did. Follow. Beckham was good at disguise pass, says Rolling Stone.
Cheers, Rolling.
Connor needs to shave it all off.
Racism, is it?
Celtic. Kelleher seems like he has a head on his shoulders. Rolling Stone, it's a sad fact some of the goalkeepers today have more possibilities than Xavi and De Jong. I have not seen a player with Scales' defensibility in Ireland jersey since Paul McShane. And Celtic Symphony. My wife's telling me to promote my X page, and it's at Celta Symphony 75.
No free promo here.
she's telling me I can make money off it, but no way I'm giving Elon Musk my money. Jason says, it's always sunny in Cavan. We don't need hoodies. And then he says, last season's walkout jacket was lovely, but can't be got in adult sizes, only kids sizes. And then
You still
Gaelic
fit in
Edits-
that, Jason.
Yeah. Isn't it mad that the World Cup is only 12 months away? The last one feels like last week.
Because it was a winter, so it was only it's kind of it'd be an 18-month. Would you say 18-month, 20-month maybe turnaround rather than no, it wasn't 18. What I'm talking out of my arse because the Euros. Yeah, I'm just thinking of.
Get your fingers
I forgot there was a year. I forgot it was every 4 years. I thought it was every 2 years. That was like AFCON every 2 years.
Well, we'll have this. What was it? The club championship thing starts in June, doesn't it? So we're not really getting a summer in a sense. We're going to be obviously following Ireland over to Luxembourg. Going to be there in Dublin as well for the game against Senegal. Looking forward to seeing those players playing. But football doesn't really stop for us, and we'll be getting lots of content out there. We'll be focusing on the transfer window, of course, which opens I think 1st of June. Is that the transfer window opens? And 1st of June. Yep, everyone's out of the contract then. And and
pre-season starts for them players after, and obviously the League of Ireland is still on. But pre-season, a lot of our lads will be going back.
Yeah. And we have another comment there from Rolling Stone. Bosun Lowell is the master of disguise pass. We hope so. But yeah, look, just as I was saying there, thank you for all the viewers this evening and your support of the show. We do appreciate it. We're trying to get us all on one of these very, very soon. We've got our end of season awards coming up soon as well as a show. So let us know in the comments and follow us on all our social channels. Let us know who your favourite player is or the best player you think from Ireland's season this year. And give us a prediction as well of who you think will be a breakthrough player for next year. That would be great for you to do that as well. Follow Connor at Rep Tracker. Follow the Lansdowne ROAR at LROAR_pod on X. Trying to build all the followers. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Very, very important to do that. It does help us with our sponsors and partners and things like that. And we've got lots of things, as I said, coming up. Do check out the back catalogue as well, the recent shows. Find out how we've some great interaction, good crack over the last live shows as well. And we've got some really big events coming up as well.
And if there's any and if there's any ideas people have in terms of even awards that you want to, is there's any weird or funny awards you want us to give out before the end of the season, or something we want us to do around the transfer window, or some sort of like end the season thing that you want us to talk about, probably preferably just myself and Martin. But other than that, it's good to get another show done, Martin, and the 1,200 people that they're watching. Hopefully, 1 in 8 people hopefully go and subscribe after watching this video. Get us closer to what are we searching to get closer to 2,100 2,150 we want to hit as soon as possible. So hopefully people subscribe. Just click that little button.
Yep. Appreciate your support this evening. Have a great evening, everybody, and we'll catch up with you soon.